Ready?
Fire away, mate.
Good stuff, Port Hardcastle. Pleased to meet you.
Pleased to meet you.
So your big break came in 1985 with 19. Obviously, I was one of many millions that bought the single.
You're not going to ask for a refund, are you?
Not at all. I still enjoy it every now and again. And what do you remember of those times?
Everything, really. It was a great time for me. The fact that everyone had said that 19 didn't have a chance of doing anything, you know, and not to release it. And I sort of had 2 weeks of toing and froing, saying that I want to do it, and if not, then I'll go elsewhere. But no, it was a fantastic time. I think it was a better time when, you know, not everyone was sort of doing the same type of music. It seems it's all very sort of, you know, very samey now in dance stuff, which to me is a shame. You know, it used to be that one minute you'd have, say, Loose Ends, you know, doing a certain sort of vibe of the track, then you'd have Colonel Abrahams, or you'd have, and it always moved around a lot, then D-Train, and it was a good time for that. But now it seems that if it's not one whole speed of music, you know, it all has to basically fit in perfectly. And I mean, my daughter's a DJ, and I tell her, I moan at her about it. I say, "Brian, you've played the last record, it sounds like 3 hours of one track." You know? So I do have a bit of a gripe on that side of it. But no, the 80s were great. Fantastic.
Did you have to pay for the dialogue samples in 19?
Oh yeah.
You did?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was taken from a show on the TV, and we had to get permission. But unfortunately, when they got permission, they only got permission for it to be used as like a documentary. And then they had a clever lawyer in America who said, well, that's not actually, you haven't got permission to use it as a pop record. So they sued me again.
Oh dear.
So I had to pay for it. That's a long story. But
Yeah, I bet some things happen like that.
Yeah.
Right? But you also did the Top of the Pops theme tune. That was a bit of a coup, obviously. Did you ever get bored of hearing it every week?
Well, I didn't listen to it every week, but no, I didn't, because it was quite an honour, because I was only about the 5th person or 6th person to actually do it. Just before me was Phil Lynott, who I actually worked with a couple of days before he died, unfortunately.
Joking.
Yeah, but no, I mean the Top of the Pops theme, when you're asked to do that, it's quite a buzz, because you know you're actually doing the theme tune for what is the biggest pop programme in England.
Yeah.
And to be asked to do it, it took me 2 days to actually do it. I did it really quick for Michael Hill, because he was desperate for it. And it stayed on for about 8 years, I think.
Yeah, superb. What were you working on with Phil Lynott then? What project was that?
It was, we was doing some tracks for his album, and he'd actually done a track called 19, believe it or not, but it was nothing like what we had done. It was just something that he had written ages ago, and he said, would you produce it for me? And yeah, it was quite a shock, really, because, you know, 2 days we're in the studio, and the next minute he's sort of dead. It was like, wow.
There's no sign of that happening at all.
Well, there was some signs of it. Yeah, I mean, he wasn't very well, but we didn't think it'd go that far.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember the last thing I remember about him really was the fact he gave me his jukebox for my wedding present,
Really?
which I've still got. Which is great. You know, I only just sort of went to him. I said, "Oh, that's quite funny. I like that. You know, it's a jukebox." And he didn't say nothing. And 2 days later, he got his roadies to bring it over to me, which was quite tasty. Yeah.
A nice chat. Did any of those projects come to fruition then? Did the single
19 only came out, but that was it, because after that we hadn't finished anything. We were still working on it and stuff. So it was a shame, really.
Yeah, definitely a shame. But you've also worked with many other artists, remixed many other artists, Barry White, Five Star, Third World, Senita, Ian Jury. What's the sort of personal favourite for yourself?
I think the D-Train. You're the one for me, because it was actually my favourite record in the dance. I wasn't lying. It was actually my favourite track of the start of the 80s. That's what I thought how dance music should sound, and I'd stopped remixing at the time because I should have really been getting on with my own album. And I said, right, I won't do any more. And they said, oh, we got something that, it was Simon Fuller. He said, they've sent you another one. Do you want to know what it is? I went, no, I'm not. He went, it's D-Train. I went, I'll do it. I had to do that, and made it hit. And I did Top of the Pops with James Williams on that. So that was a great buzz of sort of making something a hit, which was your favourite record.
Yeah, absolutely. Isn't it? And I mean, you've recorded a lot of jazz albums as well. What is it? You know, even got a jazz award with Smooth
It's
Jazz.
not really jazz. They sort of just put it in as smooth jazz,
Yeah,
but it's not.
jazz.
It's fun. It's more funk.
Yeah.
But with, you know, as soon as you put a saxophone in something, people tend to go, it's jazz, and it's
true.
not. You know. But sorry, I interrupted you. What was you
No. I mean, what is it about sort of that sort of style that really draws you in?
Well, it's a bit like what I did just before 19, like the rainforest type of,
Yeah.
of buzz. And I just found that I liked it, and I was doing really well with it, and it's become, you know, I sold more records doing that stuff than I did when 19 was around. So, very strange.
Not too bad, but I mean, the new album, so it's 19 Below Zero. What can we expect exactly?
It's a lot of different things. It's some chill stuff, it's some vocal stuff, it's some dance stuff. It's really a lot of different things. There's a couple of remixes of 19 on there.
Great stuff.
And that is because I had actually found two tapes that I'd never used in the 80s. And so I basically got them out the loft and sort of sort of hashed them a bit, added some new sounds to them. So it's all sort of new stuff, really.
No, that's great. So what does it signify itself, 19 Below Zero?
I think it's because it's got some 19 bits in there, but it's also a chill album. So you're looking at something that's basically, you know, that's why we call it Below Zero, because it's a chill album.
And what's your favourite track off the album at the moment?
I think the Marvin Gaye track, because that took me a year to get permission from Marvin's family and from Universal Music and stuff. I don't know if you've heard the track, but it's a remix. It's Rainforest mixed in with What's Going On by Marvin Gaye.
Oh my word!
So it's I think that's about my favourite track. I came out the studio after doing that and I thought, wow, that really gave me a buzz. It was another 19 moment.
Yeah. Yeah, and what's you know, the writing process itself? How does that work with yourself?
There isn't one really for me. I just do anything, anytime. I never go in with any preconceptions of anything. I just start writing stuff, or it can come from vocal idea, from a bass line, from a riff, from some chords, from anything. Really.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to count up. I mean, including sort of greatest hits and that, I think you've done 27 albums.
Is it
that
27?
Right? I mean, that's quite unbelievable. What a work rate. I mean, are you a workaholic? Are you always doing something?
No, this year I've been very prolific. I mean, I had an album out in May, which is a chill album in America. I've just the Pasha album, Perceptions of Pasha, that was out. That came out in July. 19 Below Zero comes out in October, and then the Hardcastle 7 album comes out in about February next year. So it's been one of these years where I have been very prolific. But then sometimes I might say, well, I'm not doing nothing for a year. So how it happens, I don't know still. I mean, after 30 years, I still don't really know.
Yeah. How do you relax then? What's the...
Well, I was going to say I go to football and watch Chelsea, but I haven't relaxed. The last time, you know, watching them win the Champions League, I wasn't relaxed then when that came to penalties. I was actually nearly the world's client looking for Valium or something, because I was gone. Couldn't watch it. I walked out.
Have you ever been to Under the Bridge, that club underneath there?
Yeah.
And there tonight, funny enough, to see Jessie J.
I mean, I used to do the music for Chelsea TV. I did it for nothing, just as a labour of love for them, really. It was before Roman could afford it all. But I enjoyed it because I sort of used to have a badge, so I could go anywhere in the ground, in the players' bar, got to know some of the players, stuff like that. So that was cool.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. And yeah, I know that your son has actually played the guitar on Jazz Master 6. Is he involved at all in the new album?
Saxophone he played.
Yeah.
No, not on this one, but he was on the last Hardcastle and he was on the last Jazz Masters. I mean, he's played on 2 tracks that have both hit the top of the charts over there. So he's had quite a good induction to it all, yeah.
Yeah, superb.
And he also runs around Ibiza a lot. He does a lot in clubs and things in Ibiza.
Yeah, great.
That's how.
Not a bad life.
That's how the Perceptions of Pasha album came about, because he was out there and Pasha said to him, "Would you get your dad to contact us?" And I did, and they said, would you do a few tracks, see what you're doing now? Just a couple of demos. And I said, yeah, sure. And I sent it to them, and they said, love it, would you do a whole album for us? So that's basically just out about a month ago. So yeah, it's been quite a busy time.
Do you like working with family? Is it any more stressful, any easier?
Well, I think I can say to them if something's not that good, easier than telling someone else. You know, because they know that I'm saying it for a reason, and it's like if something's not up to scratch, then you would say it, and you know that they would know that you're being on their side. Whereas some people would take it wrong just for the sake of taking. Well, how dare you say something?
That's true. Yeah. No, egos get in the way
totally.
sometimes.
Yeah.
But, what are you listening to at the moment then, from the sort of current scene?
Wow. Do you know what? I mean, mostly I listen to Talk Sport.
Yeah.
Now, how's that for being honest? I mean, I do a show myself on Time FM.
Oh yeah.
And that's the main sort of thing. I think that takes up. Rather than me listening to other stuff, I actually prepare a radio show, and I can play whatever I want. So it'll be from Barry White to to Thin Lizzy to the Isley Brothers to you know, anything really. I don't ever go into one type of music. I'm very eclectic is the word.
Yeah.
Sounds a bit funny, that word, but I've used it now.
That's great. But yeah, what sort of 3 songs would you say from your massive repertoire would say, right, that sums up Paul Hardcastle?
19, Rainforest, and the Rainforest, What's Going On with Marvin Gaye. Although I'd have to go to 4. There's a track called Return of the Rain Man, which is a real chilled out track, which is, a lot of people have said that's their favourite thing I've ever done. So yeah, I think those, but I could name you quite a few, but you asked for 3.
Yeah. But thanks a lot for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure. And is there anything else you'd like to say to Music News watchers?
Just hope you enjoy the album, and it's out on October the 14th. So check it out. Hopefully you'll enjoy it.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you.